and welcome to this FPL Gameweek 17 press conference live stream with me, Holly Shand. It has been a while, so it's great to be back with you guys, and there's plenty to discuss. We've got unlimited transfers for Gameweek 17, so lots of tinkering to do, lots of press conferences going on in the next hour as well. So it's certainly going to be an interesting one. So if you are joining me today, please come and say hello and leave your questions in the chat. I'll obviously be doing my hellos. I'll be going through my own team as it stands for Game Week 17. There's a few players that I need information on in the press conferences today, but you'll figure out where I'm at the moment and anything that could change between now and the deadline, which is Monday at 11 a.m. UK time. Greg is in already, so good to see you, Greg. If you are in, please come and say hello. I know it's been a while, so probably people have forgotten what time the stream normally is, but there's lots to go through because we do have the press conferences today. So I think quite a few of these are going on at the moment, but there's certain ones that will be more interested in than others. Certainly Graham Potter at 1:30 regarding Chelsea assets is going to be a big one, particularly for those managers that are looking at Kepa and Reece James. We've also got Fulham's press conference. I think I saw something on Twitter earlier that, Mitrovic wasn't included in some sort of friendly last week. So that's an interesting one. Obviously, quite a few injuries at Liverpool as well. So I'll be keeping an eye on all of them. The tweet deck is open as always. So it looks like Klopp we're seeing at 1:30. We've got comments coming in from Everton at the moment as well. So it's certainly going to be an interesting one. I can see some of you are in the chat now saying hello. We've got Jaheem in as well, already giving us some advice. So the first thing I'm going to do then is have a look at my current draft as things stand. So while I'm doing that, go and say hello in the chat and start leaving your own questions. But this is where I'm at the moment. I couldn't get 3 premiums in very easily without making lots of compromises. So I'm currently on 2 premiums with Haaland and Salah, and I'm hoping Foden can cover De Bruyne, but I do have quite a lot of FOMO about that, especially after how impressive De Bruyne was in the Carabao Cup round of 16 last night. So that's causing me a little bit of concern at the moment. But the main things I wanted to do was triple up on Man City, Arsenal and Newcastle United. And I don't feel like I've compromised too much on those triple ups other than having Foden rather than De Bruyne. So I've got double Newcastle defence. This hasn't changed, by the way, since the video that I did on Monday. So it's a weird week, isn't it, Christmas week, to know what's going on where. So I've got double Newcastle United defence because everyone's got Trippier. So I'm hoping having Botman as well will give me a little bit of an edge. With Almiron, he's finally in. He's not a player that I've owned yet this season, so I'm excited for that. Haaland, Foden, Cancelo. Now, I have had a little bit of a dilemma this morning. Do I drop Cancelo down to Walker or another City defender, especially with Diaz now out for a bit as well, to get De Bruyne in, or do I not? And then my Arsenal contingent is Gabriel, Saka and Nketiah. Quite hopeful with Nketiah. Martinelli's looking at me though. I guess the trouble here is that, Saka, he's on penalties, but if Martinelli has any chance of playing up front, then, Martinelli's suddenly going to be the better player at the cheaper price. I need good news on Kepa. Dalot as well. Now, the news about Dalot is really not great at the moment. Ben Dinnery kind of said that he's been training away from the rest of the group. Unlikely to be back for Wolves. But Luke Shaw is the same price. Reece James is in the back of my mind though. But I'd have to find some funds from somewhere. There's also Bueno, who's like the Twitter favourite budget player, which would give me funds in the bank. United's fixtures are really nice though. Forest, Wolves, Bournemouth in the next 3. And I think Forest going to have some defensive issues because Dean Henderson isn't eligible to play against his parent club. So You know, I really like the look of United assets. And then obviously they've got no Rashford in there either. You know, all that I've just said about Forest's defensive problems. You know, Nketiah could be Martial. I could have Rashford in the midfield instead of someone else. There's a few things whirring around my brain, but, you know, compared to what the team I showed you on Monday, this isn't very different. At the moment, it's just Shaw in for Dalot, but, you know, the press conferences could change things, but I'm kind of wanting to go with my gut feeling initially. I've got all the core players there, so that's where I'm at the moment. So I'll jump across to the chat now, because I can see a few of you are in. And just by the way, guys, on this, I haven't actually made any transfers. If I just open another tab so that you can see what's actually going on with my team. My team is still my Game Week 16 team at the moment. I've not made the changes because I read somewhere that, you know, transfers count towards your transfer total at the end of the season. So I've tried to resist tinkering. So this is my Game Week 16 team currently. Obviously, I've got a bit of value tied up in some players. Pope, who's obviously going to go. Dunk is going. Cancelo, not 100% on right now. Trossard is going, but Brighton could have a double Game Week 21 according to Ben Crellin. So that's something to monitor, as could Palace. I've got Zaha in there at the moment. Got funds in Foden, a little bit of funds in Andreas as well. And some in Wilson. So lots to think about, but this is the draft as things stand. Gary is in. Hello, Gary. As is FPL Focus. Keith Hopkins is in, as is Sitter as well. So thank you so much for joining me, guys. If you have joined, get your questions in. Hit that like button as well. And one thing that I was meaning to mention that I've already forgotten about already, I'll just give a little plug for this before I get into questions. I've opened my Discord channel up to all, so that you can speak to me about FPL, get advice, share drafts, discuss the football as it's going on as well. So it's quite fun. So I'd love for you to join me in there. So the link is in the description of this video, but you can also use the QR code which is on your screen now as well. So let's have a look then. We've got Nuisance is in as well. I hope you're not going to be a nuisance today. I'm sure you won't. Sorry as well if my voice goes at all. I did have a cold last week, which is why there was no content. So we'll see if I can last an hour of chatting. Greg says, I'm off work today, so get to watch live. Please talk me out of having any Chelsea players. The double game week is tempting me. Yeah, Chelsea is such a difficult situation. There's a few layers to this as well. So we've got really nice fixtures in the next four anyway. Bournemouth, Forest, Fulham and Crystal Palace. So that's 3 promoted teams in the next 4 game weeks. Plus they face Fulham again in game week 22. So Chelsea assets were kind of already on the radar. Then they got the double game week as well, which is Man City, Fulham, which is obviously a mixed bag, but it's a double game week. But the problem is Graham Potter and his roulette is just so frustrating. Kepa currently flagged with injury. We do think that he's first choice if he's fit, but whether he is fit or not, we're hoping for firm news from Potter today. I've also seen Reece James in a lot of teams. I personally do not get on with Reece James as an FPL asset. So I'm going to be avoiding him, I think. But at 5.8 million, given that he got 14 attacking returns last season, he's certainly a player that we need to consider. And probably the other name that's really in the frame is Mason Mount. But he had like a little bit of a hamstring injury, I think. So he missed some training, but he's back in training now. So who knows what's going on there. But it's something that we need to have in the back of our minds. But certainly Chelsea players, given the fixtures, given that we can't really go on form because we had such a long break, that's why Chelsea assets are popular. I think it's fine to get James in or Kepa in. I personally wouldn't want both. I think there's better options than Mount, but it'd be nice to get one of their assets in. Jaheim says, getting KDB, Trippier, Haaland, Kane and Salah and Shaw, you won't regret it. Have you robbed a bank, Jaheim? KDB, Haaland, Kane, Salah for premiums. I mean, I am just going to have a look at my team value. But I know it's shocking. I mean, I don't know how other people are doing in terms of value. This is probably not the most efficient way of doing this, guys, but I've started, I've committed. So I've got 100.3 million when I cancel everyone out, which seems a bit wrong, really. Let's have a look. Let's have a look what it says on the points page. Squad value were 101.1, and yeah, so I've got 102.2 was what I had at game week 16. So yeah, it's not great. I mean, if you're at 106, maybe you can afford 3 to 4 premiums, but I can't. Yeah, Dallo is gone for sure as things stand. Gary has said, "Hi Holly, James and Trossard or Duncan Saka planning for the likely Brighton double game week in 21. I mean, I feel like James and Trossard's got more upside than Duncan Saka. I mean, I owned Dunk for a while. He kind of ticked along, but, you know, it wasn't very exciting. He's due an attacking return, though, Dunk. I mean, every season, bar last season, he's got at least 2 attacking returns. You know, 2019-20, he got 3 goals, 3 assists. 2020-21, he got 5 goals. He's only scored 1 goal in the last 1.5 seasons. Like, he could easily score a goal in back-to-back games. He takes a few set pieces, certainly direct free kicks with a reasonable distance on them, and he's a menace in the box as well. So he's due, if that helps. But I do think it's wise to consider the double game week that Brighton might get in 21. I mean, I'm literally only going off what Ben Crellin said on Twitter. I don't know if I can find it. Let's just check if there's any news from the presses as well while we're looking on Twitter. No, not a lot, I don't think, at the moment. Just a few. Yeah, I think most of the press conferences are at past now. Let's have a look at some more questions then. Keith has said, could be a triple for Brighton. Yeah, that is the rumour, but I don't actually know if it will happen. In terms of Brighton assets, obviously Trossard is top of the list. You've got to remember, he's the 4th highest scoring midfielder in the game. And if we were to look at the Opta stats, all these Opta stats, by the way, are from Fantasy Football Hub. You can get a link in the description to get a membership, and you can get 12 days free membership for Christmas at the moment. So use that link in the description below. But if we look among midfielders this season, you know, Trossard is 6th for shots, 3rd for shots in the box. No, that was shots on target. 2nd for shots in the box. 4th for big chances. So, you know, Trossard is the one if Brighton get a double game week or a triple game week that we're all going to go to. Sanchez, I don't think he's strong enough compared to the other mids. Be interesting to see what McAllister's like when he's back, but obviously he's not going to be back for game week 17. So he is a consideration. Do we triple on Brighton if they get a triple? That's the question. We don't know if it's even going to happen yet though, guys. FPL Noise is in. Thank you for joining. If you are in, guys, don't forget to hit that like button. As I can see at the moment, there's 65 of you in. 15 have liked the stream. So come on, help me out. It just helps me grow the channel, do more of these streams, get it out to more people. Yahim says, expect Shaw to have a massive return over the next 3. Yeah, it was great at, before the break, wasn't he? 6, 7, 5, 6. Petered off at the end with a 3 and a 2, but there was an assist in there as well. FPL Focus says he's got Rashford at the moment. I know, I'm really tempted with Rashford. I find it difficult to trust him. But I mean, at 6.7 million, I mean, you think, oh, he was brilliant at the start of the season. He only missed... Well, he didn't even miss a game. He featured in every game, one as a substitute. 6 attacking returns. It's good for his price, but, you know, it's not mind-blowing. Do we think that he can get to these levels? I mean, surely things have got to improve at Old Trafford, especially with Cristiano now out of the equation. But, you know, can he get to 20 attacking returns for the season if he's had 6 attacking returns in the first 14 games? I'm not convinced, but then, you know, he could get another 6 attacking returns in the next 3, so let's see what happens. Sitter says, Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, I need one. Any suggestions? Now, in terms of the... Nearly knocked my mic over there. In terms of the pecking order for Arsenal midfielders, I feel like Odegaard was quite popular while the World Cup was on because he wasn't at the World Cup. Then it went to Martinelli because he wasn't that involved for Brazil at the World Cup. Then it went to Saka because England got knocked out of the quarterfinals, so we assume he's going to be back for game week 17. Saka's on penalties, which is the big one, but, you know, if Nketiah doesn't get on at centre forward, Martinelli could come in. And, you know, it actually surprises me when I go on to look at these Arsenal midfielders. There's 1 point separating the 3 of them. Odegaard's got 6 goals, 2 assists. Martinelli 5 goals, 4 assists. Saka 4 goals, 7 assists. I think it's goals that Saka's lacking, but I feel like, to me, Saka was maybe unfortunate. More like Saka was the one that should have had more attacking returns from what I saw of Arsenal, and he's on penalties. Let's just have a look at some stats then. So XG, Martinelli first, Odegaard second, Saka third. Expected assists, Martinelli, Odegaard, Saka. Maybe I'm wrong then. Maybe it's just a way of interpreting. You see, Martinelli does seem to be cropping up. The weird thing is, it's Saka with more goal involvements, but because he's getting the assists and not the goals. But, you know, if Arsenal gets some pens, then that's going to be a massive boost. I think you just need to go with your gut, but I'm personally more of a Saka player than a Martinelli or an Odegaard. Hopefully that helps you, FPL Focus. FPL Noise says Team Núñez. Yeah, you see, I'm not prepared to double up on the Liverpool attack, and I really want Salah in my team, so I'm avoiding Darwin Núñez at the moment, which could be a really bad decision. We don't know. We'll have to see how it pans out. I'm not that big a fan of Darwin Núñez at the moment, and in my eyes, Salah's playing higher up the pitch, so that makes him a more attractive option, and he's a midfielder, whereas Saka, and he's a midfielder, whereas Núñez is a forward, so he gets more points for goal and everything like that. So that's why I'm going with one, and that's which one I'm going for. Jaheim says, what about Chalobah? I mean, is he going to play every game? That's the question. I mean, Graham Potter clearly likes him. I don't know. I feel like he's a bit unproven in my eyes. MD Alamin says, happy holiday, Holly. Oh, thank you. Somerville update. I mean, I haven't had a Leeds presser today. Was it yesterday? Or are we not getting one? You know, we're not going to get press conferences from everyone. I mean, it's not looking great for this week, but you're not going to play him against City anyway. If it's only short term and you're going to bench him for the next 2, if he's a player that you want, then get him. But, you know, to me, Andreas Pereira should be in every squad. But that's just my interpretation of things. You may feel differently. Let's have a look then. Josh has said Sterling or Havertz as a punt. I'm considering one of them. Yeah, I'm not feeling the Chelsea attackers. They're just not been, to me, they've not been consistent enough. I'm I would steer clear, but I can understand why you want to take a punt. Peter says, would you keep Raya, and thoughts on Solanke for Alvarez? I mean, Raya's been pretty consistent. Is he top for saves? Have I imagined that? No, he is top for saves. He's top for saves. Brentford have got a mixed bag with the fixtures. Only one game to be rearranged. We do need to bear in mind having a double game week goalkeeper is preferable. And I think the fact that Ward's going to be in all of our teams, because why not? And that it rotates nicely with Kepa, leans me towards going for that pair. Thoughts on Solanke for Alvarez? Yeah, not really feeling that really. I don't know when Alvarez is going to be back. To be fair, I know I had Solanke in my team before and he did tick over. He's not really that sexy a pick, is he? 8 attacking returns. Solid, really. Fixtures are a mixed bag. Amzel said KDB and Salah and Rashford okay or not? Yeah, it's fine. If you're going for 3 premiums, I think that's a good place to be with them at the moment. Jaheim says Kane has a great Boxing Day scoring rate. Yeah, I do quite like these. And there was something else that I picked up on this week. If I can find it. Here we go, look. Salah's record against Aston Villa is pretty good as well. So he has played 5... He started 5 Premier League games, against Aston Villa. And in that time, he's managed 4 goals and 1 assist. And there's, some quite interesting narratives springing up surrounding goalkeepers for Game Week 17. Maybe if I get the goalkeeper tabs up, it'll be more interesting. But Nottingham Forest have got Dean Henderson, can't play against Manchester United. Their backup Wayne Hennessy has got a little bit of an injury as well. So, who they're going to play in between the sticks could be quite interesting. So you see Hennessy's flag there as well. So that's one interesting story. Aston Villa, Martinez is celebrating his World Cup win. Olsen is flagged. I think Steer is also potentially unavailable, and they've got someone else that they can't call upon until January. So that's another interesting scenario, which means that maybe doubling up on the Liverpool attack could be a good strategy for Game Week 17. I know Villa will be stronger with Emery in charge, but, not having a goalkeeper is a bit of an issue for them this week. What else have we got? Oh, yeah, so we've got this situation at Leeds as well. Obviously, Man City play Leeds. Meslier's currently flagged with illness. So that's another one to keep an eye on. There was one more, I'm sure. Yeah, this is it. So, obviously, Bournemouth defence was awful for the first few games of the season. And then Neto came in and really shored things up. But in the first 3 games, they managed to concede 16 goals. So, yeah, that could be another interesting story for Chelsea players in Game Week 17. So just keep those in the back of your mind. Obviously, you're not going to, decide on your whole squad due to this, but it's certainly an interesting scenario. Just going to jump on the tweet deck and see if we've got any interesting updates from the press conferences, but as far as I can tell, I know I've not been absolutely glued to this, but we have got all that information in. I'm just going to blow my nose, guys, but while I am, if you can like the stream, that'd be great. Right, I'm sorted. So thanks for staying with me. As I said at the top, I have had a bit of a cold. I'm a lot better now, but gotta look after the old voice. Nuisance says, would you rather have Salah or KDB? I'm currently on Salah, as I can still get Foden but don't have James. Yeah, this is the big dilemma, and I don't think the game really helped things last night. If I just do a little comparison, it's really difficult. So this is per start this season. It comes down to goals v assists, really. I think if I was to filter, let's filter it from game week 10 onwards, because I feel like De Bruyne was pretty prolific anyway, but this is where Salah moved a bit more centrally. It's got his goals v assists. I'm never going to captain De Bruyne because I've got Haaland. I could captain Salah, so I think that's the thing that decides it for me. Mosh says, I don't know who to pick in midfield. Lots of options. I think Salah or De Bruyne is the big question. If you don't go with De Bruyne, do you get Foden? That's your next question. Go for an Arsenal mid, Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, take your pick. Almiron I think is very good. Don't forget about Trossard and Zaha in there as well. Andreas still the best budget pick. I think I did make a list of a few other midfielders yesterday, so let me just have a look who else I came up with. I can't find it now. I won't be able to put it on your screens, guys, because it's in notes. Can't even find it. Must have been imagining it. Oh, here we go. Mentioned Almiron, Salah, Saka, Rashford, of course. I've seen some people going Bruno Fernandes as well, which isn't a bad shout. Mason Mount. So that would be like the watch list. Valter says, I hoped Núñez would be back better from the World Cup, but after yesterday I'm not putting him in. I'm doubting Kane, Salah, KDB now. Who would you pick? I wouldn't rule out Darwin Núñez. Now, I mean, I know I said that I don't personally rate him that highly as an FPL asset, probably just because I've not really got used to him at the moment. But, you know, he's still a good asset in FPL. I know I didn't actually watch the game yesterday, but I know he was quite wasteful with his chances. But he's always like that. But he will get those opportunities. And, you know, even if he puts away a handful of the opportunities that he gets, he's probably delivering more than most players. Kane, the big thing for me with Kane is a confidence thing after the World Cup. So that's something we've got to consider. Just having a little look at what Ben is saying on Twitter about these potential double game weeks as well, because this is quite relevant. So Kane, it's whether he's going to be confident after that penalty miss. Salah, KDB, flip a coin. I don't know if this has got any new information in at the moment. Manchester United's postponements will be provisionally moved to round 4 replay week. So there's a few I think these are the possible doubles. So we've got possible doubles in game week 21, potentially for Arsenal, Bournemouth, Brighton, Chelsea, Palace, Everton, Liverpool. They won't all happen, but they could happen. And then game week, this is all game week 21 because it's over a couple of weeks because of the FA Cup round 4 fixtures. And then we've got potential in 22 for Manchester United to play Crystal Palace or Leeds. So I wouldn't plan your whole squad around this, but if you wanted to punt on Brighton players or Crystal Palace players, with that in mind, that's also not a bad thing. Gazman said Kane, Bailey and Patterson I think you put the same player in twice there. Kane, Bailey and Patterson v Darwin, Almiron and Shaw. Darwin, Almiron and Shaw. I think that's way more balanced. Unless you're going to be benching some of them regularly. Right, I am going to leave the tweet deck on now just because I'm looking at getting all this information from the press conferences, which officially start at 1:30. I think it's quite a lot at 1:30, including Potter, Silver. Rashford seems to do much better at home than away, and 3 of their opening 4 games are at home. That's an interesting one to look at. You see, this is the concern with Rashford. I look down the list of midfielders. You have to scroll a pretty long way to get to him. So at home, he's got 1 assist away from home and 4 goals and an assist at Old Trafford. Forest next, Bournemouth are there as well. Manchester Derby, Palace at home. Interesting. Nelson says Martial or Nketiah, leading towards Nketiah because of how strong Arsenal are at home. Yeah, I don't trust Martial with the injury issues as well, which does make it a lot more difficult. Right, Jurgen Klopp is in the building, as is Graham Potter, so let's keep an eye on these things as well. I'm going to keep going with the questions though, so we'll multitask for a little bit and see what happens. Neil says Salah or Nunes captain, currently on Salah. I would just captain Haaland. Valter says, I think Saka is too expensive. Martinelli and Odegaard both won't score a lot less than him. Interesting. I mean, it does free up quite a few funds. What did I try earlier? I tried putting De Bruyne in, dropping Cancelo to Walker. Hang on, I'm on midfielders again. And then dropping. Couldn't even afford this though, could I? I think I had to go Gabriel to White to unlock it. And I know this sounds awful, but the reason I quite liked this draft was because there's no money in the bank. I might actually put this in a poll. So the first... So which do you prefer? So we've got 3 premium, and that's with KDB, Walker, Martinelli. I'm going to run out of characters. And White. I'm just going to have to list them. So the first option is 3 premiums. The second is obviously just 2 premiums, and that is Foden, Cancelo, Saka, and Gabriel. So, vote in the poll. Tell me what you think's best. Right, we're bound to have some news from these press conferences now, so let's see. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of rubbish in these press conferences as well. So Graham Potter is quite positive. But I think he said that Hakim, so that's Hakim Ziyech and Mateo, will not be available for... Oh, we've got news from Manchester United. Is that going to load for me? Let's have a look. Clicked on the wrong thing now. I don't know if this is live or what. Harry Kane's sick. Martinez and Varane should be back shortly. Where is there's nothing on Dallo. Anyone else can see it, tell me, but it's just not been mentioned. Oh, they don't get any easier, these press conferences, do they? Right, Firmino and Milner are out for a few games. So that's the big one from Liverpool. I feel like maybe those Man United comments were embargoed. Well, this is Graham Potter, so this is important now. So Reece James is back in training, completed 65 minutes in the week, still without Mendy. Oh, Mendy has had a couple of days of training. So I think that is good for Kepa. I hope. It's not absolutely clear, is it? Mendy's contract situation. I think that's okay for Kepa. Cucurella, what about Cucurella? Well, Chilwell's out, so Cucurella surely will get minutes. Chalobah will 100% start with Fofana injured. That's good to know. Right, Trent will hopefully be better, but hasn't taken part in a full session. There's not been a lot of love for Trent during this period of unlimited transfers, but if he's not available, then he's off the table anyway. Yeah, Chelsea back 4 recently as well. You're all going for the 3 premium option. Oh, headaches. I need to make a decision soon. I really wanted to record a video today of my final team, but you know, it's not even close to being final, so. Rick said Andreas should be in every squad. Yes, I agree. Absolutely. I think he could be. I think Andreas Pereira is good enough to be the 11th man in this next period. Like Palace, Southampton, Leicester, Chelsea, Newcastle. Certainly in the next 4, game week 17, 18, 19, you kind of need to start him in every game because 2 goals, 5 assists. You know, he's pretty prolific, and I mean, a lot depends on Mitrovic, doesn't it? But I mean, I would have liked to have got a bit more news through. I think the main thing is that Kepa's available, Reece James is available, but he's not oozing confidence. Chelsea defence triple up? No way. I think Chelsea have only kept 4 clean sheets this season. Let me check that. I'm pretty sure though. Yeah, 4. So it's not good enough. Right, we'll carry on waiting for more news. Martinelli or Almiron? I think I'd go Almiron. Graham has asked Anthony or Saka. Saka for me. Meslier is out, yeah. So Firmino and Milner are injured, adding to Jones, Jota and Diaz. And then Trent's not 100% either. So who is going to play on the right for Liverpool? It's a little bit of a worry. And I mean, I know Trent's not been a great fantasy asset for the last few months, but I do feel like Liverpool's attack is better with him in it. Foden or Maddison? I think you have to go Foden. Maddison's a bit of an unknown quantity at the moment, I feel. You know, he went to the World Cup, but he didn't. Did he play at all? I don't feel like we saw Maddison on the pitch. KDB, Salah and Haaland. That's what the latest draft is. Ronnie says, please say something about Zaha and Rashford on the same team. What do you want me to say? FPL Josh is wondering whether to go from Nunes and Saka to Salah and Greenwood. Depends. I guess it's on the strength of your 11th man, isn't it? But I think with Andreas being a potential 11th man, I think you can get away with it. I do. Do I go with the 3 premium? You guys think I should. 68% say go with the 3 premium. Right, the last time I went without Cancelo, he scored 18 points in a single fixture. That is the thing that scares me the most about that. You know, I don't think Martinelli v Saka is that big a deal. White v Gabriel shouldn't be that big a deal. Headaches. I guess it kind of comes down to, do you want KDB and Walker or Foden and Cancelo? Is De Bruyne a big enough pull? Nelson says, what's the chances of Brighton having a double game week in 19 as well? I don't think so. I think Ben seemed to think it was too close to rearrange because game week 19 is not far away, yeah? I mean, it could... I mean, you're still probably talking 3 weeks, but... tricky. Let's have a look what other questions we've got then. So Josh says... Valter says, do you think we need to pick Shaw to replace Dalot? I don't like Shaw a lot, even though he isn't in bad form lately. Yeah, I think this is the other thing with my draft as well. I could go Gabriel and then just go with Bueno. But then I've got no United assets. But I've got a little bit of money in the bank. And I can have Gabriel over White. Could go with a different City defender as well, but... who's going to get the minutes? Stones? Stones and Akanji? Laporte's been in and out, hasn't he? Oh, this is harder than I thought it was going to be, guys. It really is. Josh, don't go with the triple Chelsea defence. Gasman, great to have you back. Thank you. Focus likes the deck set up. Thank you. It covers most bases. Antonio and Scamacca both doubts for West Ham. Might as well lock in my Arsenal clean sheet then, hadn't I? Mason likes to look at Leon Bailey for 4.5. Yeah, I think if it wasn't for the fact that Fulham have got nice fixtures, including a double, you'd see Leon Bailey popping up in more teams. He's actually Villa's high-scoring midfielder so far this season. 2 goals and an assist in the last 4. I mean, he's a player who could easily get on board game week 19, but with the doubles, you know, it's unlikely to happen, I'm afraid. Josh says, as a United fan, I'd stay away from Shaw or Martial. What do we think to this other draft then that I've just done with Bueno in and a bit of money in the bank? Let me know, guys. VL says Maddison, Foden or Kulusevski. I think Foden for me. I think you've got to be Foden if you can't find another good way of tripling up on City assets. But Kulusevski, we've got Richarlison out. I think Kulusevski could be a nice shout. Right, let's have a look at this over here. Mitrovic is a doubt, according to Marco Silva. Oh, I might as well start again, hadn't I, guys? I mean, I really don't want Mitrovic in my team for game week 17 if he's injured. Like, I could just easily bring him in for 19, yeah? Palace away is not that easy a fixture. Southampton at home is nice though. But I could go Martial for one game. This draft's evolving, guys. Don't mind the look of that though. It's just not having Cancelo really scares me. Let me know your thoughts on City defenders. Yeah, FPL Focus has reminded me as well that Mitrovic is on 4 yellow cards. So if he gets a booking against Palace, then he'll miss the Southampton game. If he gets a booking in against Southampton or Leicester, he'll only have a single game week 9. So many headaches, guys. I knew there was something going on with Mitrovic. Marco Silva haven't actually got it confirmed anywhere, but yeah, it looks to be the case. Tom FPL says Kula or Saka. If you can get another Arsenal mid in, then I would maybe say go with Kulusevski. Nelson says, should we be looking to take more risks in the second half of the season? Absolutely, but make sure that you've got the key players covered. VL said, is Tony worth it if he's going to get a ban? Yeah, this situation with Tony is really bizarre. I don't want to lose my place on the website with my draft, sorry. Let me just... So Tony is the most transferred in player for game week 19. Does the status tab of the FPL website just randomly refresh for people like it does to me? FPL Focus, Holly blew her nose. It's time to blame Mitrovic out of the team. Oh, you're making me laugh. I don't really get this Tony situation. Yeah, 10 goals, 2 assists is great, but he's got this... He could easily get suspended by the FA for betting on matches. So you could essentially be booking yourself in a transfer. It's in 20% of teams. Right, Klopp's press conference is finished. Still not got in black and white this Marco Silva thing, but I'm sure... Oh yeah, Ben Dinnery's got it for us now. Some players started working with the team this week. Some are not fully fit yet. Too soon because, as you know, we have more sessions until the match. Mitrovic is among those. When do Fulham play? Boxing Day. Mitrovic is gone, guys. Oh, do I need to consider Darwin Núñez? Right, the situation that we've got, Haaland is locked in, yeah? I'd like a punt on Martial. I don't mind a punt on Nketiah either, but is both of them too much? I mean, I could double up on... I'm not going to be able to afford... So I'm just going to go back to what my team was. And let's just have a look at the Núñez situation. Tom FPL saying take both of them out. Headaches, guys. I feel like I'm getting further away from the squad that I want. I really want to triple up on Arsenal assets. Quite like the punt on Martial if Mitrovic is out. Because I could go Martial to Mitrovic, you see. I don't want Martial and Nketiah, it just feels too risky. You know, if we've got Villa without a goalkeeper, the fixtures are nice, aren't they? But then I need to get 2.2 million from somewhere. I could go Saka to Martinelli. I could go short to Bueno. Can't afford it though. I'm 0.1 off. I mean, I can do Gabriel to White as well, but you know when you feel like you're taking your whole team apart to getting Darwin Núñez, and I don't even know if I want him. I'd rather go with the triple premium idea than this. Thinking on the go, guys. I think Bueno's going to have to stay, isn't he? This is such a headache. Maybe I just have to get over myself. Because I didn't even have triple Arsenal there either. Can I go Martial, White and Nketiah? Tell you what, guys, this is way more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I can't remember who was in my team now. That was it, wasn't it? Do I dare go without Cancelo? That's the biggest question about this draft. But do I dare go without De Bruyne? The forwards is really tough now. I mean, you could still go Mitrovic. Just Martial and Nketiah just seems too much. Have we got any more news? I don't feel like you can go Mitrovic now. Well, it just... The forwards is the hardest bit for me. Really is. Right, let's go back to some questions then, because I don't know if we're really going to have any more news from the pressers. And I was only planning on going till 2 o'clock, because I am, at some point, I'm going to log off for Christmas soon, even though my team's a mess. I do like the team that I've got on screen now. I feel like that could be it. Can you even see it all? Let's scroll down for you guys. That's what I'm thinking. Who would you bench this week, though? I mean, if Mitrovic is a doubt, I'd probably bench Andreas. Bench Bueno. And Botman. Play Walker going. This could be the team. I could even lock it in the next 5 minutes. I am going to have a mad 5 minutes just trying to answer the rest of the questions. So keep dropping them in. 50 likes on the stream, 140 of you in, so keep hitting that like button as well. Valter says, struggling to drop Cancelo, I feel you. Team is too weak with KDB and Salah. Is it? Does it matter? How is it weak? The forwards is the weakness. But I can get Mitrovic at some point. I could go back to Callum Wilson at some point, but I am trebled up. Maybe this is why everyone's buying Tony. FPL Josh doesn't want to drop Cancelo either. Greg's got 0 interest in Walker. If we don't go Walker, who do I go with? Because I think I can... Do we not trust Walker? You see, I'm 0.1 off Stones, which is annoying. But I could go Gabriel to White. I mean, I could go Bueno or Gabriel, but I could go Shaw and White. But then I've got a bit of a dilemma. I don't know, guys. Something like this. Something like this. Iron says Rashford and Kane or Fernandes and Kulu. would get... oh, no, you can't go Rashford and Kulu. Rashford and Kane. Akanji or Walker, I don't know. Bilbo says on Tony that he could play till January, which is a fair point. Shay Adams. I mean, Southampton have got really nice fixtures. He's got 4 goals this season. I just don't know if I can do it. And Nketiah will bang. Keep Nketiah. Get Tony and Wilson instead of Martial and Nketiah. I don't think I can do Tony. I mean, I feel a little bit like he's got a point to prove. He's definitely going to get banned at some point. If he's going to play Spurs, West Ham, Liverpool, then get banned for the nice fixtures. Just don't know if I can do it. Thoughts on Wolves fullbacks? Yeah, I think Wolves fullbacks are going to be quite exciting, which is why Bueno seems like a good punt. Where has he gone? There he is. I really want to own Gabriel over Ben White. Headaches. Martinelli to Odegaard. Nah, Odegaard is like number 3 in my list. I might be wrong now. Odegaard's that player that could come up with a silly haul, but you know, when there's a chance that Martinelli could play up front, it just makes him a little bit more exciting. Castagna, yeah. He's been on my watch list. Just... I don't know. Ward could be rubbish again. No, don't fancy Reece James. White over Gabriel. Nelson said I had Walker at the start of the season and he served me very well. Me too. Me too. Laporte's going to score a header in Game Week 17. I can't afford Laporte. I think this could be it, guys. I'm not going to lock it in yet. I will post when I have locked it in. But this could be it. This could be the team that I go with for Game Week 17. Triple Arsenal, triple City, triple Newcastle United. Punts on Martial and Kepa, basically. I think it could be it. I've certainly kind of gone round in a few circles and I think I've come back to something that I'm fairly happy with. Don't think any more news has come through. Ben's got an update on James Maddison, some ongoing issues, so that probably rules him out. Let me just... I don't know if this is going to work for me. Right, so Dallo is gone. Bueno is in. Cancelo is gone. And Walker is in. I just wanted to show you guys how I should look this week. So this is using the My Team tool on the hub. That works, doesn't it? 0.3. Something's different, unless it's just a team value that's not going through. So I think this could be it. Captain Haaland, Vice Captain Salah, De Bruyne in, so 3 premiums. The 11 kind of picks itself. I'm not going to lock it in yet. I will let you know. But I think I'm happy with that. I think I'm happier with De Bruyne in my team than Cancelo. And I don't mind the compromises that allows me to achieve that. Because I've kind of lost like the 4th defender spot by getting Bueno, but I don't think that's a problem. Because if it's a player that I'm going to have to bench most weeks anyway, it's probably best that it's a bit cheaper. So I've gone with De Bruyne and Walker over Cancelo and Foden. And to afford it, I've dropped Saka down to Martinelli, which I don't think is a bad thing. So that could be it. I'm going to leave it there then, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, hit the like button. I am going to be stopping for Christmas now, so there's not going to be any major content. I've got a few shorts that are coming on the channel in the next couple of days, so look out for them. I hope you have a really great Christmas. I don't know if I'll have any streams before Game Week 20, just because of how things fall, but I hope you have a good one, and I'll be back soon.